Is there any archaeological evidence that would collaborate outside of the Bible for an Exodus, or is this only in the scriptures and in Jesus' sayings?
Well, there is some independent evidence, but with an event like the Exodus, you have to ask what kind of evidence you would expect to find.
Okay.
And there's debate about, in the Hebrew, I was just reading a commentary about how it says like 600,000 from this tribe, etc., went out there. That's based upon an interpretation of the Hebrew that very could be a much less number.
Okay.
So, if so, the amount of archaeological evidence would be a lot less than if it's the huge number that it's often translated into English. I'm not a Hebrew scholar, so I can't answer that, but that's a very interesting point that oftentimes people skip over.
Okay.
Now, as far as evidence for it, here's two examples you could give for the Exodus. Number one, why would the Israelites invent that the origin of themselves as a people was in slavery?
Okay.
Why would they make this up? It's a very lowly description to come from. Why would they invent it? That seems bizarre and counterintuitive for God's chosen people. So that's one indirect evidence that makes me think, there might really well be something to it. A second piece of evidence is when you look distinctly in the book of Exodus, you find a lot of Egyptian loan words, meaning words that have their roots in the Egyptian language,
Okay.
which would make sense more so than you do with the other biblical books if they had just come out of Egypt and this was written by Moses.
Okay.
So it's hard to find direct archaeological evidence, and I'm not even sure what that would look like, but you find these indirect clues that at least say, gosh, it's plausible, and it's arguably maybe even reasonable.